All right, we're back.
Hey, what's up?
We're up to 6 now.
I think we are. We're heavy into the game. I feel like we're at this point podcasting professionals. I feel real good about it.
We've been doing some good things, making some moves with the podcast. So we are available on TuneIn Radio now. So that's another platform for us.
That's a good amount, right? Yeah. It's SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher,
Google Play.
If you say at this point that you can't find a podcast, you're a fucking liar.
Yeah, and we're pretty much syndicating these podcast streets at this point.
Absolutely.
Working on one more platform. Hopefully we can get it. A little vague about the details about getting on it, but once we get more information, we'll let you guys know. Mm. So how's your week been?
It's been good, man. This is like the first week that I've been able to do stand up post election.
Yeah.
So everything's all tense and people are like weird, and I got a bunch of new jokes, so I'm like trying it out, and it's cool because like I'm getting this real time reaction to some new stuff that I've been practicing. So
yeah,
that's been fun, man. It's been real fun. It's been tense, but it's been real fun. So that's me. How have you been, man?
All right. Like I said, I've been focused on a lot of stuff with the brand and dealing with the podcast behind the scenes. We just released a shirt that we did before. It's the Ride Over Souls, Not Souls tee. If you listen to the episode we did with Harrison, he mentioned it. They actually carry an exclusive colorway of it right now. It's the Orioles colorway, so it's black and orange. Have another colorway that we're having in the works right now, so that may come soon. I'll keep you guys posted on that, but I think that's the biggest thing that I've done in the past week.
That's big, man.
Yeah.
How's it been selling at the store?
Got a really good response from it, actually.
That's
I was
good.
Surprised. Like, they posted it up on their Instagram, and people were commenting on it. Somebody was like, "Can you hold one for me?" Like, that's
shit.
like a real good feeling. They like know your stuff.
Dope, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Appreciate that.
That's really cool.
Yeah. What about you? You got any upcoming shows or anything?
I do. December 1st at Ben's Upstairs in Washington, D.C. There's going to be a free show. I cannot wait. DC and I have a weird relationship. It's like sorted. Like, we have good sex and then come back to it. It doesn't seem to be as strong sometimes. Yeah. Like, DC and I have a weird relationship. But I'm hoping that it goes well this time. So December 1st, Ben's Upstairs. It's being headlined by Haywood Turnipseed, who has the name of a slave. Like, that's direct. If that's not slavery at work, I don't know what it is. Haywood Turnipseed that's his real name.
Wow.
He opened for Hannibal Buress the last time he was in Baltimore.
Okay.
He's headlining. I don't know when I'm going up, but I'll be there and I'll be funny. And a bunch of my friends are supposed to be coming, so check that out.
I'll be there. So
cool. Go.
I think that's
I think that's it, right?
Yeah. I did want to mention. So I don't know if you spoke this into existence or it really did exist with Lyft. They do have a mustache. I saw it on a commercial, actually. Like, somebody put like a pink and black mustache into the dashboard. So I was like, I don't know if that's been there the whole time or like you.
I feel like I saw one at some point in my life and then it disappeared. I feel like it was a thing for a little bit.
Yeah, maybe they're bringing it back then.
Maybe they're bringing it back.
But we do have a Lyft promo code, which is why I thought about it. So for the podcast called branded BRNDD, you can type that in, get $50 ride credit. I think it also works for drivers as well. I think you get a $300 credit. So
yeah, cool.
That.
Are we going to get into it? I feel like the time is ripe.
Yeah. So, let's go ahead and get this intro in, and then we can get to the interview. We're back.
Yes.
So, our next guest. Did you want to do the introduction for this one?
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like it'll be.
All right. Cultures are brought together by music. One of the most powerful things to move the people. Now, upon my journey in life, I've met a lot of people that are producers, DJs, all these things, but a lot of people aren't good at the craft. I am friends with a man who is good at both producing, DJing, and generally just being a cool dude. Daniel Biltmore.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I like the NPR calmness too. Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I did radio for a few years.
Oh, cool.
Oh, really?
When did you do radio?
For 4.5 years in college, which is how I know Peter Rosenberg.
I was actually going to ask you about that. So you met him?
Yeah, we worked together for probably 4 of those 4.5 years.
Oh, that's incredible, man. So you were, what was your time slot? When did you do?
So we both went to University of Maryland, College Park. So his radio show was from 6 to 9 on Fridays, and then mine was 9 to midnight. So
cool.
So we were back to back.
Yeah.
And he even did that. He held on to that for a long like way after he graduated. I stuck around for extra, I don't know, semester, but he was...
he was there for a while.
Yeah.
Well, it paid off for him in the long run.
Absolutely.
How did doing radio in that format help with your taste in music? Did it expand it?
Well, I think it affected how I think about how I listen to people.
Okay.
And I listened to a lot of talk radio. I listened to a lot of NPR, a lot of podcasts, and as just solely a listener, you don't realize maybe how difficult it is to just sit there and talk to no one. Right,
absolutely.
And I think that's something that Howard Stern is incredible at. He can sit there. He doesn't need all those people that are there in the background. Like, he can sit and talk for hours. And I don't think that I could do that. Like, it's very difficult.
Yeah.
And I know that you do stand up, and that's sort of another thing. You're on a stage. You're interacting with the crowd, but at the same time you're having a conversation with no one.
Yeah, it's more of a monologue than a two-way conversation.
And I think that's something that's scarier and more intimidating than most people really give the time to think about.
It's terrifying.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, it's probably one of the most stressful things I think I've ever done, and I do it all the time. So like, I'm always. Anybody that really knows me enough knows that I'm constantly in a state of fear, because it's, every night is different. And I feel like there's only a couple of things that really represent that. And I think that DJing seems like one of those things too, like where...
For me, it's very easy because I have a barrier.
Okay.
I have a security blanket.
Got you.
But if someone wants me to like get on the mic and be like, Oldsmobile license plate, whatever, like you're about to get towed, like I would be terrified.
Gotcha.
But I have this table in front of me. I have this music equipment in front of me.
Right.
And I can handle that, and I know I can handle it.
Do you get the drunk girls that lean towards can you play a future Drake?
I think most DJs don't like them, even if they are good requests. It's still kind of an annoyance. But if I wasn't like part of that world, I probably wouldn't realize that. So it's like you gotta kind of like balance it out and realize like people are there to have fun, and maybe they're not into that scene and they're not aware of all the unspoken rules, so maybe they're just trying to hang. But then it doesn't like you shouldn't need some education to be like a cool person, you know what I mean?
Right.
So on one hand it's like I'm a professional, just go get drunk or whatever, and I'll handle it. But then every once in a while, it's like, you know what? You're right. I should play that, or good idea.
Yeah, because I actually just listened to the Rich Friend podcast with Vasti Cola, designer director. She does DJing too, and then the other guest, I believe, Chase B was the other guest. He also DJs, and that was something that they talked about, just taking requests, and they had their own approaches to it. She was like, at first she would just tell people no, and then go back and forth and tell them why she wouldn't spin it, and then at this point she just tells them yes but never plays it. So everybody has their own quotes about. Is it just because you have a certain set that you're going with and it doesn't fit?
Oh no, I never have a certain set ever.
Okay.
But also people think that because you're the DJ, you have every song that's ever been made.
Right.
And I mean, I'm to be honest, there's stuff that 14-year-old kids are up on that I'm not up on, and they want to hear something, and I'm just like, like a lot of these like dance challenge songs.
Yeah.
There's like songs that came out 15, 20 years ago that I have, but they have some different name because someone's doing something different.
Hey, Juju on the beat. You mean
exactly?
Buck?
Exactly. Like that is the perfect example. Like the first time I was aware of that song was I was doing it was like a almost like a dance camp for a weekend, or like a dance I guess that's basically what it was. And there were a lot of kids there that are, professional dancers or aspiring to be professional dancers, and they all wanted to hear Juju on the beat. And at that point, I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Zero. And then I heard it, and I was like, oh, jeez.
Nuck If You Buck from several years ago.
Yeah, right. Because oddly enough, if you listen to the song long enough, I think it's like the second verse. The first 3 bars is actually from Nuck If You Buck.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, you had a show back in the day when things were a little more manual. I used to help a friend of mine do shows when he DJ'd, and it was crates and crates and crates.
Yeah.
How is the transition to Serato and a little more digital? How's that been?
Well, I think I have a little bit of a maybe dissenting opinion amongst traditionalists, because I feel like I'm a very traditional person, but I also really embrace technology, and I'm all about making things simpler and easier, and distilling what is like if I can get through TSA easier and quicker, I'm all about that. You know what I mean? Like things like that. Like the less weight I need to carry, I think contributes to my overall performance at the end of the day. Yeah. But I first started buying vinyl because there was a lot of music that was only available in that format. So before I even had a turntable, I was buying records, but I had no way to listen to them.
Gotcha.
And then, so when I was around 16, that's when I bought a mixer, and I had one turntable. And, for the next decade or decade plus, I was carrying around crates. And it takes a lot of time, like if you have a set, you want to go through your record collection, and you got to pick out, your best. I think like 70 records might fit in a crate.
Jesus.
So you want to pick out like your best 100 records, and that's all you have to use for the night.
Yeah.
Right.
And you got to organize it. If depending on how much you want to prepare, you want to organize it in a way so maybe you can just flip through it and throw things on.
Yeah.
But now that's with Serato, if you want to play a McDonald's commercial as part of your set, you can do it. No, I mean, I'm not even making a joke. Like, like when I first started using it it's probably like 2006, 2007, I was like, I can play the Fresh Prince theme song. And that's not something that's to my knowledge, pressed up on vinyl.
Right.
You know, like, but if I want to throw it into the middle of a set and mess people's heads up, I can do that. So that was really weird. It was weird knowing that I could play whatever I wanted. I could make my own song and play it that day.
Right.
And then now, in the last 6 months, I've been using a DJ controller, which it essentially is a mixer, and it's everything in one. And it looks silly. It looks like a child's toy, but I have fun with it. It opens up like a lot of doors for me and a lot of creativity for me. So there's sort of this debate between traditionalism and using these new toys, and I'm kind of just like, screw it. I like using the new things. It's fun and it's easy to carry around, and it allows me to do all kinds of really cool things audio wise. And I think where the really like issue of contention is where people have never used the old stuff, never used the analog stuff, and are just playing using this new technology. And I guess people feel like they're not really like either earning their place or getting the fundamentals down properly.
Right. Yeah.
I think that happens when there's a lot of transition between digital and analog, even with like photography, because I have a degree in fine art. So I had to do some photography stuff, and I had to use a film camera. So some of the things that I learned using a film camera, you just don't have to do it for a digital camera anymore because it does it automatically. Mm-hmm. So just knowing those processes, it helped me understand photography a little bit better in a different way than I would just using a digital camera. So I think you lose some things just in that transition across the board.
I know that there's some places like in New York that some clubs or bars, they have rules where like if you're DJing here, you're not allowed to use a controller.
Yeah.
Which I think is stupid.
Why would there be a rule?
Because I know I can do a great job. Like I can do just as good of a job with probably a better job. But maybe I'm utilizing it in a different way than someone who is just figuring it out.
Yeah.
So how do you since we're on that topic, how do you feel about the quote unquote aux cord DJ?
I've been humbled many times because this is something I've been doing for a living for a long time. Mm-hmm. And I take it seriously, but I've also been in a lot of situations where like skill or expertise doesn't matter at all whatsoever. Like I did an event for Sonos, the speaker company, and it wasn't my job to actually DJ it. They just wanted me to make a playlist. And after the playlist ran out, it was a party. This was at South by Southwest, and it was a party in a house where people were just passing an iPad around and picking songs to play off of. I think it was off of Spotify. I'm not positive. And it was getting just as great of a reaction as if there was like a DJ blending everything and like.
Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, people just want to have fun and hear music and aren't trying to sit around and be like, those BPMs don't matter. And it sucks. It sucks as someone who really cares and pays attention to that sort of thing. But you can't. It's like you can't fault the audience for.
Right.
You can't. I can't say you shouldn't be enjoying this,
Right, yeah. But
so,
you do have elements. I mean, I've seen you spin a couple of times. You do have elements that make yours unique, and one of those things is original mixes that you make. You make, mixes that have combinations of.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so that.
So there's different levels that you can pay attention to things.
Yeah.
Like DJ AM was someone who would, take a phrase from a song and then pick another song that has like a similar word in it or similar phrase and make those things connect, which I think is amazing and it's super cool. And but there's only a certain group of people that are going to pay attention to that.
Right, because we actually met at Peter Palooza when you were spinning there, and one of the mixes that you did, I told Ron, I was like, this is a really good mix. And he looked at me, he was like, yeah, it is. So, like, just doing original mixes like that in the middle of a set, that's one of the things I appreciate.
Well, thank you. I mean, sometimes I surprise myself. No. I mean, like, I'll come up with an idea and I'll be like, oh, that never occurred to me before.
Yeah.
Like the other day, I was playing out and I played Hold Up by Beyonce, which is like, hold up, they don't love you like I love you. And then I played, I think, like Bound 2 by Kanye. And I was like, oh, those there's some communication between those songs. It's like, they don't love you like I love you. And then he's like, Bound to Fall in Love. And there's like a conversation going in there a little bit. Maybe I'm the only one enjoying it, but it to me it's like an interesting thread to sort of think about.
So do you feel like that space for that type of DJ is shrinking? Like the one that does original mixes live and does certain sets and not just a playlist?
It's tough. I mean, I think it's like a yes and no thing, because the idea of a DJ has exploded so much in the last few years. People know what a DJ is. Like, people think about it, whereas years ago it was if you said DJ, they would think of it as like someone that's on the radio, like
right, yeah.
And little kids are taking DJ classes, and it's all over the place.
Yeah.
So personally, I think I enjoy the democracy of it. Like,
okay,
someone can afford to or be able to get into it, and they might be horrible or they might be really great, and it might put me out of a job, but that's okay, because maybe there's someone that understands things in a much better way than I do.
Yeah. So just on DJing in general, and you talking about kids getting in DJ, like what made you start taking it seriously and taking it as a profession? So
I guess I was about 16 when I first started, but it wasn't anything that I really took seriously. It was just something that it's like, I want records that I can't get anywhere else, and I want to listen to them. And so I did that for a while, and I did that through college, where I just, like listening to music and wanted to sort of spread the word about things that I thought were good. And it was probably not until I moved to Baltimore. I moved to Baltimore for grad school in, I think, 2006.
Where are you from?
Silver Spring, Maryland, which is it's about 35 miles from Baltimore. So growing up, I was usually spending more time in DC, if anything, because Silver Spring, I guess, identifies itself more as a suburb of DC, even though it's kind of equidistant, but it's more of a DC place.
Right.
But then when I moved to Baltimore, I started doing more interesting things, and there's a lot of Baltimore is a city where I think you can afford to be an artist a little bit more than some other places. It's one of those places like Asheville or Austin, where it's like kind of cheap enough to live here. If you really wanted to find a place to live for $300 a month, you probably could, and do your art and focus on that. And so I'd never been to like warehouse parties and like all kinds of like weird things. I don't know. I was just totally blown away. But also at the same time, Baltimore was very much in the spotlight of a lot of things at that time. And that was really like spearheaded by my friend Naeem, who goes by Spank Rock. Like Spank Rock was, I don't know, 2006, 2007.
Yeah, it was huge.
Like, you know, it was a big thing, and he was kind of crossing these lines between dance music and rap music, in a way that I really, you could figure that it was going to happen, but it hadn't happened yet. And so I think there wouldn't be like an LMFAO, there wouldn't be like a Kesha, people like that if it wasn't for people like him, like people like Kid Sister, who were like really going for it at that moment.
Right.
And also Baltimore club music was like a thing, you know, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
So it was very easy to get excited about it at that moment. And then in 2009, when I finished grad school, that's when I met Chad, who's half of the Neptunes. He's Pharrell's production partner, and we started working together a lot. And I just kind of took that as a sign. I was like, "This is cool." I didn't really ever take it as something that I wanted to do seriously, but maybe I have the opportunity to. So let's just, let's see where it goes. Like I'd rather explore this path than not, and be upset about it one day that I didn't go that way.
Right.
Yeah.
Prior to meeting Chad, how much did you do? How much producing? How much production did you do in general?
I didn't do any.
You didn't do any?
I mean, like I would do very like basic like,
stuff.
mashups. Like I would take an acapella and take a beat that I thought was cool and put those things together. But I hadn't taken that leap, and I didn't really understand that world yet. I still don't. There's a lot to learn, but being able to see him work and see what the Neptunes do is like, it's crazy. And so that was absolutely a lot to take in, and also a great learning experience.
Yeah.
I guess what I think about when I think about the production, what I wonder as a person that's tried to do production before is their workflow. I guess what did you learn when you first got into meeting them as as a production duo, or just Chad himself?
I think it's changed over the years in terms of how they work.
Right.
And so just to like reiterate, it was like about 2009.
Yeah.
When I first started being around them, and they had already done all kinds of things.
Yeah, they were already out of this world at that point.
Yeah, I mean, 2009 was like a quiet period for them after
dominance.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was right after like Seeing Sounds, right?
19. Well, that's true.
Yeah, so they were still touring as NERD a lot at that point, which I didn't realize until I met them. That
it was right after that.
On the road,
2000
doing NERD all the time, as opposed to producing for other people, and that's kind of why there was like a lull, because instead of working with other artists and doing the Neptunes thing, it was like NERD. On the road for 2 years straight. They were on the road doing that, and then Pharrell's kind of like resurgence. It was a very calculated thing. That took about 2 years, where he was kind of saying, I'll do all this other stuff, but I want to work, and if I'm going to do this job you're offering me, I also want to have studio time, and I want to have an artist to work with. And so there was a lot of like groundwork being laid. Blurred Lines came out a year and a half after that was made. So these things were very intentional, which it doesn't really show. Like people probably wouldn't realize it, especially peripheral fans, moms and dads who are like, oh yeah, Pharrell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it wasn't by mistake by any means, but it took a lot of work.
Right. So during the course of that, you and Chad formed a group, right?
Yeah. So we met, I think, in May of 2009. And then not too long after that, I started going to Virginia Beach to their studio, which they had at the time. And he was like, hey, I want to start a DJ group. And if you want to be a part of it, it's just going to be you and me right now. If you're not interested, we can just hang out and be friends or whatever. And I was like, no. Slow down.
Are you serious right now?
Like you're gonna be like, nah, that's okay.
Nah, I'm good. Yeah, I mean, what I didn't know that I was being invited into a very eventful and interesting world, but yeah, at the time I was like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me in my life.
Right. That's dope, man.
And yeah, my life has not been the same ever since.
Not bad.
For better or worse.
Right.
It's been a journey and an adventure.
Yeah. Cool, man.
But I don't know if you guys have ever seen, there's it's like a meme or a thing where it's like what most people consider the path to success, and it's like a straight line. And then the next thing is like what it's really like, and it's this line that kind of jumps all over the place.
Right.
And I would have to say, that's pretty true. I think there was a part of me that maybe I think I jumped the gun a little bit and thought it was going to be that straight line, and thought that, I'm skipping 15 steps but no matter where you are, I've learned you still got to work for it.
Right.
No matter if you're at the bottom or you're at the top, like you can't take it easy and just think everything's going to be fine.
Right. That's a pretty amazing. I mean, and it's not like you're super old to learn that. You know what I mean? It's a good lesson to learn because you still have a lot of life to live.
Yeah, but there are a lot of people that experience this much younger than me.
Right.
That might be 17, 18 years old. And I could only imagine processing all of that.
Yeah.
And that's one main thing that's impressed me about Chad and Pharrell is that they really made their mark when they were 17 years old. They were still in high school, but they've managed to be, normal, considerate, understanding human beings.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I think, imagine if you became a superstar when you were in high school.
I couldn't.
And
most people can't.
And you probably wouldn't progress a lot mentally. From that point, like you would. It's like the term arrested development. It's like you really are like, 17, 18-year-old for the rest of your life because you haven't. From that point on, you haven't been told no. And I think that's why a lot of people burn out when they start being told no, when they have exhausted themselves a little bit.
Right.
It's easy to burn out.
I guess I never thought about it that way. To not be told no for a long time. Because
look a lot of athletes,
Yeah, absolutely.
60% of professional NBA players declare bankruptcy after they've retired.
Yeah.
Which is crazy considering what their salaries are while they're working. Even if they're only working for 3 years, just to be a millionaire for a few years would probably work itself out for most people.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But these are people that have been probably sold a story since they were in middle school.
Yeah.
And so they're being told yes for the entire time since they're little kids.
Yeah. They think the money's going to come in the same way forever.
Yeah.
And then you start to create a lifestyle for yourself that is pretty much the same as we live. Like you're paying tens of thousands of dollars a month for things that are ridiculous and that you don't need, and then you wind up spending essentially what we would spend on rent and a car payment and stuff like that for However, you can go bankrupt. I can see how that would be a thing.
I can kind of give some insight on it because I used to play. So, like going through middle school and high school, I kind of got swept into that world of AAU and traveling and playing basketball over the country, and you get a lot of free stuff at that time. Like you don't have to pay for a lot of stuff. So
and you're young too. I'm sure you're like, if you're 14 and you're getting free anything, that's probably
Like I'm playing for Team Mello, and I'm like,
you're like, oh, I just got some free shoes. This is amazing.
And I'm standing next to NBA players and like meeting them on a regular basis, and you know, just going around getting free shoes and free shirts and all this stuff, and winning medals and trophies. And then you come back home and people telling you how good you are, and then you go to college and it's pretty much the same thing. You know, you get free food. You don't have to pay for your rent technically because you're either on a scholarship or you're using financial aid or something like that. And then like once you go to that next level, you just assume it's the same thing, but you know you're making so much money, I can take care of that for one night, I can pay this off, and then you get to the end of your career and you don't have anything saved, so it's just like you run into a wall. So there's no.
Jeez, that's rough, man.
Yeah, I mean, so the article that I was reading that said that 60% figure, it spotlighted Darius Miles.
Oh yeah,
you remember how like
he was a part of Team Jordan too.
Yeah, and I was a big fan of his. Like he's probably my age or maybe a few months younger.
Right.
So I was like, this is someone that is my age but is a professional basketball player, which was like new to my brain at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And he got suckered into a lot of bad real estate investments, and he has no money now. Another crazy thing, when Mike Tyson first declared bankruptcy, and this was years and years ago, his bills alone were $500,000 a month. Just for him to pay his bills. That's not even like.
That's criminal, man.
Right.
That's a ridiculous amount of money.
Right?
$500,000.
It's insane.
So that's probably $6-7 million a year just on bills. Not like including I gotta go to the grocery store too.
Yeah. Eat some food. I gotta get some gas for my car. It's so crazy.
And it's weird because you think about stuff like that and you put your life in this perspective. Like you think your bills are crazy. Like imagine having that type of burden on you.
Right. I mean, that's why people do some of the crazy things they do.
Yeah.
And self-medicate.
Yeah.
So related to.
I took this way off.
You got that on rabbit hole, but no, it's good. It's good though. What would you say that the experience that you had with Chad and Pharrell, what did that do for you in terms of like perspective and how you look at success now, and how you're moving forward in terms of establishing this whatever new version of success that you see in the future?
I'd say it's equally informed me and damaged me in some ways, because I've seen and experienced very like insane high level things, and when you're around all that, you start to sort of think like, well, I'm here, I belong here, I deserve to be here, and I think it made me a little carried away with myself at times. I come back home from being on the road doing something amazing, and no one cares about who I am, or I gotta do a DJ gig for $100, and so it was this wild swing of extremes, and I think there was a part of me that sort of, for a while, felt I, deserved or should be at some certain level, but at the end of the day, like, everyone's out here working. We're all no one's better than anyone else in that.
Right.
And I wouldn't say I went crazy, like out of control with myself. Like I was like doing lines of coke. Did you kick anything like that? But it's humbling. It's weird, but it's also you also have to sort of congratulate yourself, which I think I didn't do enough in my past. Where it's like I'd be like, "What? I don't deserve." I think I would say to myself, "I don't deserve to be here. I shouldn't be here." And at the end of the day, it's like, no, you are here. So, like, who cares? Like, stop second guessing yourself. You're here. Just go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a cool thing to know, because I think that in general we highlight creatives that are doing some amazing things and have accomplished a great bit, but I think it's good to know that the motivation should always be the art and being good at it, and understanding that anything that relies on solely off of your talent has some dips. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like regardless of how good you are at a given thing, there are peaks and valleys, and it goes up and down. And to know that the downs aren't a permanent thing necessarily, but you got to stick it out.
Yeah, it's fluid.
Yeah, it's fluid.
I mean, life is fluid.
Yeah, that's a good thing to know, man.
But you had some pretty good high points when like you were touring though, like you did like Coachella and a few other festivals.
Yeah, it was. It's great, and it will be in the future. Hopefully,
It will.
I was able to go all over the world, which is something that I wouldn't have been able to afford to do just to do on my own.
Yeah. What places have you gone to?
I've been to some weird places. I've been to, I've been to the Philippines 3 times, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Excuse me. Angola, Africa was probably the craziest place I went to. Hong Kong, Singapore, Paris. Just a lot of random places. Like there's no consistent theme between the places that I went to. But I got a pretty full passport at this point.
Gotcha. Who did you meet? Who were some of the more interesting people that you met along the way?
So I was actually thinking about this a few minutes ago while we were discussing some things, and when I went to Angola, I went there with my friend Neil Armstrong, who was Jay-Z's DJ for a bit.
Okay.
And we also went with this guy, Little Louis Vega, who is part of a duo called Masters at Work. And they're like a very legendary house production DJ group.
Gotcha.
But they've also been around for a long time. And they really they pioneered, do you know, freestyle, 80s freestyle, is that, have you heard of this?
I've heard of I don't exactly know what it.
I mean, it'd be easier to play examples, but they pioneered freestyle music in the 80s, but then they also became this amazing group of producers that were DJing and doing all kinds of remixes for people like Madonna.
Wow.
So on and so forth. And so I only spent 1 week with Louis, but that was one of the most informative experiences of my life.
Oh, wow.
And he was a very good, friendly, approachable person, but he also handled his business very well. And it was kind of great just learning from him, hearing his stories, but also seeing him maintain a level of respect for himself, and he didn't put up with anything.
Oh,
he didn't put up with shit. He never offended anyone. He was never rude or mean, but he knew what he was doing, and it was really nice to sort of see him operate in that way. I'm sure he has no idea that meant a lot to me, but he was a good person. And sometimes when you're dealing with financial things, it can be difficult to negotiate all that and still preserve relationships with people, because you want to be a good person, but also, it's like, you gotta give me the money that you, and I've chased people all over the place trying to get money.
Yeah.
So you gotta handle your shit. But it doesn't mean you have to be an unlikable person at the same time.
Right.
It seems like a hard balance. I remember somebody owed me like $500, some t-shirts that I sold, and I sold them. It wasn't like they were like in the ether, like they were on the shelves, and I couldn't reach the dude, and I started losing the professionalism, and it just turned into threats.
Let's be real. If someone owes you money and you can't get in touch with them, there's something's going on.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
And I can say that because I've owed people money, and I've been
you ghosted them.
I've just been like, oh, I'll respond tomorrow.
Right.
You know what I mean? But if someone's avoiding you, there's a reason for that. It's because there's a problem.
And that
sucks.
That really does suck. So you saw a DJ that was actually doing that balance of professionalism and
when I met him for the first time, I said, they paid me half. I'm still waiting on the other half, and he was like, "No, I wouldn't have gotten on the plane if they hadn't given me the full amount."
Oh wow!
And so I spent the next 6 months chasing around the rest of the money that they owed me. And he got it before he even got on the plane.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
And FYI, trying to get money from someone that doesn't live in the same country as you is very difficult.
I can't even imagine.
Right.
Just because you don't have a lot of legs to stand on legally, really. Yeah. Even if there's a contract, it's like...
Yeah, right. It's not like the world police that'll come. Like, you need to give this money back.
Exactly.
Jesus, man, I didn't even think about that. Hex.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But doing international stuff like that, how were the responses like dealing with people that didn't speak the same primary language as you? And
it was always great, and it was always interesting to know that the music that we listen to, it's the same music that everyone's listening to all over the world.
Yeah.
So there were a few instances where maybe I would spend a week someplace as opposed to one day, and realize, okay, there's like this song, that song, these songs are popular, and I should probably like drop them into a set.
Right.
Which was great, having the extra time to absorb that, but really, it's never been that different.
Really?
And so that makes you think strangely about the United States a little bit.
What did it make you conclude?
I don't think I've come to a conclusion.
Right.
But it's weird to think, like, despite all of this country's faults and problems, that we're still sort of the cultural capital of the planet.
Wow.
And that, I don't like thinking that or feeling that way, but it's still sort of the truth.
Right.
We are the artistic standard bearer, pretty much.
Jeez.
I think it's just being a combination of having the money to being able to pursue the arts more than other places, and then having the outlets as well, because a lot of people don't know how advanced fashion is in like Taiwan and Japan and like Beijing, And
they kill us on a lot of that stuff.
Yeah, and it gets here later than we do, but we get credit for it because we have a bigger stage to showcase it on. A lot of people get the influence from us, but we get it from somewhere else.
Yeah. It's interesting, man.
I'm not in any way trying to say that any other global cultures are derivative of anything, but it is like this realization that there is this common language between all of us.
Yeah.
Before I played in Abu Dhabi, I looked at like the charts of the local radio stations and downloaded a lot of the music that was like, looked like it was popular.
Yeah.
And when I played it out there, it was just like, yeah, so I was just like,
you put that Jeezy on it.
Yeah, I was just like, stop overthinking it, just play.
Right. That's nuts, man. Oh, you know what? I was actually going to ask you a question related to that. So you've been DJing for, well over a decade, between college and stuff. Decades?
2 decades.
Yeah, I'm 36. I started when I was 16.
Oh, okay. Cool. Is there a song that you like to put into your playlist that you've had for years? Something you sneak in there, like some Tribe or some De La or something like that?
I had those, and unfortunately, I think I do them less.
Oh, okay.
Because some songs that were like a little older, I've sort of phased them out. One song that I used to like to do that with a lot was "I Can't Wait" by New Shoes. Are you familiar with that? It's like
yes.
Oh
yeah.
But I think it's getting a little old for people to
you see judging eyes in the audience.
It doesn't ring bells anymore, but I think it's a wonderful song.
Yeah, it's a good song.
But I think it's not like triggering. It's starting to not trigger the same
right
thing that it used to with people.
Yeah, there needs to be a dance sensation surrounding it. It's gonna be back on.
That needs to be some sort of challenge.
Some Quad City DJs. I can't believe how popular that song got. My Boo, once that shit came out, it was like number 1 on the iTunes charts for like a good month and a half.
Yeah,
it's just so crazy.
Good for them.
There you go.
Good for them. Yeah.
That's how Black Beatles have taken off because of the Mannequin Challenge.
Yeah.
That album's been out for a minute, and this song just caught on.
I like Ray Sherman.
I do. I like
Ray Sherman.
They're like one of the few new people that I like.
I actually, for real, like heard somebody the other day was like, "Yo, I heard that new Black Beatles by Iman Shumpert." It's like that's a basketball player.
Although he does do music. I don't think that's his song.
Iman, he is the best NBA rapper of all time.
Really?
Wow.
He's pretty good.
He's not like
Of all time?
What's his name, 20 Joules or 40 Joules, aka Allen Iverson.
No, man, Iman Shumpert's pretty good.
Really? I'll be making me want to listen to his stuff.
Well, he has a talented fiance, so I assume, and I just watched the interview recently. She does give him some
I'm
direction.
not saying pull it up right now, but you will be pleasantly surprised.
Really?
Yeah. He did the intro for First Take, like they're breaking between intros. Yeah.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
That's pretty dope.
Before Carrie Champion left the show.
That's pretty dope. So, do you still stay in contact with Rosenberg, and what do you think about his success over the last couple of years?
We talk, sporadically. It's just, it's just the kind of thing where something might remind me of him, or like he's gonna come up. We'll talk about silly things.
Yeah. I mean, you did DJ his event. That's pretty huge.
But I met someone who is like 10 years younger than me that went to the same high school as him about a few weeks ago. And I was just like, oh yeah, my buddy Peter went to your school, and he's like, Peter Rosenberg? Everybody knows who he is. That was an instance where I was like, yo, Peter, you got it.
You'll never believe what this kid said. Everybody knows Peter Rosenberg.
This was like being viewed as like a deity or something.
It's pretty.
And I'm thinking, like, you know what? Actually, most people probably don't. But
right, exactly.
if you went to the same high school as that dude, I'm sure, yeah.
I mean, I guess lately he's kind of had this political thing. He's like the most woke person, white dude on radio right now. He's like very acutely aware of everything that's going on, and he has like a interesting opinion.
Well, his father is a very accomplished, you know, I don't know his dad's resume completely, but I know he's a very outspoken and respected individual when it comes to, to politics.
Okay. Right. It's interesting to see how he's kind of developed as a personality and sort of a political dude in a way. So it's cool that you stay in contact with him, and that's dope, man. You know what I was thinking about? I actually didn't tell you, and this isn't going to end the podcast, but we actually have this portion of the podcast is a little outside of the actual podcast called the Branded 10, where we ask every guest to make a playlist of 10 songs that they're kind of feeling right now. So when you get a chance, we want you to put together a Spotify playlist.
I can do that. I don't know if it's going to make any sense right now.
No, it's fine. It isn't. It's fine. The wackier, the better, actually.
We're trying to get a good eclectic mix between all the guests that we have. We got some good lists so far. I'll send you some of the ones that we've done so far so you can check it out.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be any like mainstream stuff or current stuff either.
I think I sent you a link to that song that was at the end of the Unto the Wilder People. Yeah. It's this like song from the 70s, these identical twins. I'm obsessed with it, man. It's like on the cusp of like cheesy. Yeah. But it's not, but it's so
Man, related fucking crazy. So when we first met years ago, I was interning.
How did you two meet? I never asked this question.
So he was working at a shop in Baltimore.
Yeah, I was working at Gente, and I don't know, we just started talking about like,
movies. Video games and movies. And then we just stayed in contact because I noticed the common theme with movies that you liked when we first met. You liked a lot of movies that had to do with like existentialism and stuff like that. And I was just like, I fuck with this. Because I like weirdly heavy movies. Yeah. And we just stayed in contact. But I was interning at XM, and I specifically remember saying, like, make me a mix of some shit you listen to. And you made it, and my mind was blown. It had some spank rock on it. It was a good mix, man. Put it like that. And I kept that mix for a really long time. And you put one of your mixes on it too. I was like, it was dope. It was really dope, man.
Did you tell me it was your mix, or did you just slide it in there and like wait for some feedback?
I don't
you didn't remember it. You don't remember it, man.
Check this out.
You had a Valentine's Day mix that you did.
That was kind of cool.
Yeah, and then you had like
there were some good blends on there.
It was a good.
There was like this little Stevie Wonder, "Hey Love," into flashing lights. That's one of my little secret weapons.
And I feel like the beginning had like a movie clip or something.
Yeah, I used to do. I would do that kind of stuff all the time too. Yeah, but I kind of stole that from Neil, who I mentioned earlier. He's really good about putting his little movie scenes into things. Yeah, it's like, that sounds great. I want to do that.
Yeah, it actually helped me a lot because when I interned, I worked for XMU, the indie rock station, and I never told you this, man. So what they would do is he'd just give me a stack of CDs and he'd tell me to pick music. So right around that time, you gave me that CD, and what the CD taught me was just pick shit you like. Not necessarily like things that are the same. Just pick things that you like, and then make them work for itself once you establish the songs that you like. So they would give me these stack of CDs, and I would pick songs out, and if the guy liked them, he would put them on the radio. So after a while, the guy would he trusted me. He trusted the songs that he'd be like, pick out 10 songs. I'm going to put some new shit on the radio, pick it. And then after a while, he would just take the CDs without even looking at them, and we'd put it in the system and play it. But
you're like, bro, isn't this your job?
Yeah. But I say that to say that your CD taught me to kind of select songs based on feeling and less about this coherent. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, you can bridge them. You know what I mean?
You can bridge them, yeah, absolutely. Especially when like there were at that time there was like waves of music that just kind of sounded the same, and a good mix has pockets of things, but it's not dominated by one particular sound, unless somebody's like make a mix that sounds like, you know, early 2000s snap rap or something like that. Like, you know, it's nice to have that diversity in sound. And
well, I know I've brought him up a million times, but Neil, as good of like a friend he is to me, if I didn't even know him, just what he's done as a DJ has impacted me like very thoroughly, and he did a mix called Bittersweet, where it tells the story of a relationship through the music. You know, like it starts with being single, then meeting someone, falling in love, and like to the whole like dissolution of a relationship, and then learning how to start over. And that was just the most amazing thing.
It sounds like it.
You know, it was like reading a book through music, and that was extremely important to me, just to hear like the story that was being told, and realize that you can make it something more than just playing other people's songs, which unfortunately, you know, at the base level, that's what a DJ does. They're not creating anything necessarily. They're putting it up for display and review.
Right.
But I don't know. I thought that was amazing, and you know, it was just like listening to a story.
It's dope, man. Yeah. I need to hear more things like that. It makes me want to seek it out. Yeah, that's dope.
Sounds like give you a real good feeling.
Yeah.
I did a little research. You were part of kind of like some hip hop history, jam session at Banaroo.
Oh, that was incredible, man. That was like, I got to sit in on rehearsals for a few days. I'm gonna try and list everyone that was there.
Okay.
But I'll probably forget some people. But Solange, Jazzy Jeff, the house band was this band called Lettuce, Schoolboy Q, Method Man, Redman, Ghostface, RZA. I know that there were more, but just off the top of my head, these were the people that we were.
That's already an insane list.
Yeah, man.
What?
And we did a few days of just rehearsal in Nashville, which is sort of close to Banaroo. Where Banaroo is, it's a bit of ways, and it's on a 700-acre farm, and so we did a few days of rehearsals with Chad. He was the keyboard dude in Nashville, and then we went down to do, I guess, 2 more days. And where a lot of the artists that weren't doing, like Jazzy Jeff was like kind of part of the band, so he was there every day.
Oh wow.
But people like Schoolboy, RZA, they were doing their part, so they weren't there every single day.
Yeah.
So they came down when we had the full practice space. But the person that was the most amazing by far was Redman. He came into this rehearsal space, didn't even start like rhyming at all. He just jumped in on the drums and started playing the drums.
What?
Wow.
And got on the mic and fucking like seriously turned the rehearsal space out so much that I'm pretty sure everyone that was there felt like we didn't need to rehearse anymore. Like it was just like game over.
Wow.
And his level of success has been high, but probably not high enough that he's like a generally understood.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But his presence was incredible. And
he can rhyme his ass off, man.
Yeah. And that's
on
the weird
top
thing.
of all that stuff.
Like kind of like you just said, like I think if you ask the casual rap fan if they like know about Redman, they probably give you like one song maybe.
Yeah.
But most people don't know like he can really rap
He
like
can rap
really
his
well.
ass off.
and so for the actual show, we shared we shared a trailer with him and Method Man.
I bet that was fun.
And and Method Man was like very like kept to himself, but Redman was just like out there hanging out, like you could hang with him, talk to him, say whatever you want. But Redman was like, man, I couldn't have ever expected a better experience with someone. He was just a great person to be around.
Seems really appreciative. Every time I see an interview, it just seems like happy to be around and present and active, and that sounds like an amazing time, man.
Yeah, man.
Oh, Jesus. And Solange's success lately.
Wow.
What?
Crazy.
Her first album is incredible, so I'm not surprised. And I've seen a ton of her stuff, like live performances.
So the first time I ever saw her in person, and I mentioned this on Twitter a while back, so maybe you saw it, but NERD had a show on Governor's Island in New York, and Q-Tip and Solange were together, and they were trying to get into the show, and the people at the front were like, you don't have a ticket, we don't know who the fuck you are, like, sorry.
Oh, no.
I don't know why I remember this like so clearly. Q-Tip had some foam posits on and some high black Nikes, and I was like, man, I wouldn't have expected Q-Tip to be wearing foam posits.
That is crazy. He doesn't seem like a foam posit.
Yeah.
Well,
But also, wow.
yeah. I can imagine be like, it's a comfortable shoe, man. It's full positive.
That's probably like the most like hood moment publicly.
Right. Q-Tip
Meanwhile, he's on SNL wearing like a Father Guido Sarducci hat.
looking like
and a Michael Jackson leather jacket.
Killing it.
Killing it. That's incredible, man. It sounds like, overall you had a good, amazing experience. Just
like
Trying to keep it going.
yeah, keeping it going. I have a feeling that it's not going to stop.
Yeah.
I have a feeling it's not going to stop.
I appreciate that.
It's really
like
dope.
you I don't know if you were on the same bill. I don't know if you met him or not, but you met the president.
The current president. It was very brief, but it was amazing.
You have a picture with him, right?
Yeah, I was able to DJ. I opened for him and B.O.B. pre world.
That is the funniest thing they
This is
did.
more like Beautiful Girls.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of the song, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wasn't that like a Lupe song at first?
It was so
Nothing on you. Anyway, sorry.
This is nothing.
Yeah, nothing on you. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Totally wrong with the song title. But what I read is that it was offered to Lupe first.
Okay, that's why there's two versions.
And he turned it down, and then when it became really successful, he don't laugh. He said that he became suicidal because
That could have been his hit.
Wow.
Damn.
That's crazy.
That's rough.
Yeah.
Lupe is a wild dude in and of himself. So
Yeah.
Did you run into him by any chance?
yeah, many times.
He beat your asses with Street Fighter.
him and Chad get along very well,
Oh, okay.
which makes sense. He's a good dude. He's cool.
That situation that he was talking about on the label, where they kind of like manufactured songs for him and sent it to him and told him to rap over it. It's a weird. Yeah. It's like weird. It was like 2 albums ago, or anyway. But yeah,
and, he also was hired to do a gig for Obama's last inauguration. Are you aware about?
Oh, he just performed the same song.
He performed the same song for like 15 minutes, and it was like an anti-Obama song.
Yeah. It was anti-establishment, and it was like pretty much going through a whole bunch of political people and pretty much saying Obama didn't do anything, and he kept doing it over, and they kicked him off the stage.
Yeah, I mean, I think his main thing was like he was upset with some of the drone strikes that were occurred during Obama's administration, and was like, this guy is such a great president. Why is he allowing drone strikes to kill innocent human beings?
Yeah,
I wonder how he feels now about Trump's.
Yeah, those ideas sound quaint.
Right. At this point, just nuts, man. Jesus, man. Who would have thought that,
man,
like a month ago, that we'd be saying President-elect
180, man.
Yeah, anyway, it's craziness.
Yeah.
But, man, we appreciate it. You have anything else you want to say?
Well, kind of up to currently, like, are you working on any projects right now? Are you putting on something in the near future?
Chad and I are always working together. There's some Neptunes stuff going on right now, which I'm excited about right now.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, so I will always defer to that because that's bigger than me.
Yeah,
clearly.
Yeah. But the fact that you said that anything's going on is enough news. That's incredible. Yeah. So you don't have to divulge too much.
Hopefully we'll have a new NERD at some point down the road.
Whoa.
But I personally, I'm more of a fan of hearing Neptunes production.
Yeah.
For other people, I think that's a great thing.
It is.
And so.
And it's needed. It feels like it's needed around this time because everybody's kind of doing like Metro Boomin, I guess, is one of those producers that's synonymous with like a certain level of quality at this point, but there's only like him and Mike Will and like people need some Neptunes around.
Random fact about Metro Boomin. So remember the Rich Friend podcast? The dude that actually taught him how to DJ was telling the story about because he wasn't too familiar with troubleshooting with what was going on stage, so he kind of taught him about that. So that was a real good episode if people want to check that out.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah. So right now, personally, I'm just kind of working on some remixes and original music and just DJing as much as possible. Been lucky enough to be really busy with that.
Cool.
But trying to figure out what the bigger picture is a little bit right now and see where everything factors in. So I can't promise too much or like I don't know where everything is right now.
Yeah.
We're all figuring it out, but I know that there's a lot of people that I've developed relationships with that I love very much, and we're all on the same page and hoping that we can create some positive energy from all of that.
Oh, speaking of which, before that, one of your friends had a look in the Apple commercial, correct?
Yeah. Right? My girl Melissa, aka Kid's sister, just had a song in the new MacBook Pro Apple commercial.
The one with the touch bar.
Yeah. So I'm super proud of her. She told me kind of the same morning she found out, which is when the actual commercial aired. So I was like,
wow.
I assume wouldn't you have known about that?
Right.
She's like, no, I just found out this morning.
That's incredible.
Yeah, she's a great human being and has helped me a lot in the last year or two, just as growing as a person. And
that's cool, man.
I'm very happy for her.
But when you get in contact with her, tell her we say congratulations.
For sure.
And I love Pro Nails. It's like one of my favorite.
Man,
I love that song, man.
I think I bought it up. Didn't you play it at Peter Palooza or like play the mix of it? Because I remember bringing it up to you around that time.
Yeah, I feel like you might have played it. I remember hearing. That's a bad impression of the beat, but
no, I can hear that.
But yeah, man, that's incredible.
It's on Can't Tell Me Nothing mixtape, right?
Yes.
For those who haven't heard it,
like the first, this is like an official Kanye mixtape,
which you didn't really get.
Yeah, he talks about porn on one of the sketches.
By the way, like now everyone's saying he's going to be running for president in 2020. The amount of shit that he has said.
I think he's lost a lot of votes in the past week.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe Trump is the new precedent for that, but the amount of usage, like the amount of women he's called bitches and talked about getting blowjobs.
What if that doesn't? It's crazy, man.
Like, could someone run for president after saying those things? And,
Trump?
And maybe so.
Trump talked about grabbing a pussy, and it's physically impossible to grab it the way that he described it.
Like someone standing, not expecting it.
I think a penis is a pussy in his world. Like, so he's talking about just grabbing dicks. I feel like you can't
that is the most aggressive term that you could ever think of.
Yeah. Also, jumping on somebody like a bitch, which I really don't understand either. You ever hear that part?
No, I didn't know.
He's like, I jumped on her like a bitch. You never heard?
What does that even mean?
I don't know. I feel like he's like taking some like slang that he heard, like
trying to be cool. I guess he was talking to some younger people trying to.
I'm telling you, there's a clip where he says he tried to jump on her like a bitch.
That's wild.
That
like there's no reference point for that. Like
nothing. I've never heard. I had never heard anything like that in my life until he said it. So I don't know. I think his grasp of English is just kind of shitty.
It's not bigly. It could be a bit more bigly.
It could be. But yeah, man.
But you know what? It frightens me. After that came out, just as a joke, like I wrote on Twitter, like grab him by the pussy.
Yeah.
And I attributed the quote to POTUS.
Yeah.
And looking at that, just seeing, like looking at, I was like, this is really silly.
Yeah.
But now it's real.
It's very real. And it will be real for the next 4 years.
4 to 8 years. Depending on how this shit happens.
Yeah.
I think that's even a scarier thought, like the chance that he can get reelected.
Yeah. Hopefully, we'll all be talking to each other because I feel like he's prompting this race war, man. He's like, I don't know what's happening in terms of like people's feelings about things, but
yeah. Did you see the Beastie Boys, Adam Yaks?
No.
He has a park named after him. MCA has a park named after him in Brooklyn.
Right.
And like 2 days ago, it was spray painted with swastikas.
Wow.
And it was like, go Trump, or like something like that.
I found out a fun fact about swastikas. If you close the swastika, you can actually make the Windows 95 logo.
Yeah, like you put the 2 dots after. If you see any swastikas, just go around and start tagging them.
It's like, damn, there's a bunch of Windows 95 logos all over this place.
I don't know if you guys are trying to wrap up, but if you look at history, empires are built and they fall, and that's just a fact.
Absolutely.
And we're sort of starting to witness that firsthand as far as America being an empire that is falling to China right now.
Mm-hmm.
And when you look at history, you're looking at things and this empire lasted this many thousands of years, which is way beyond how long any of us are going to live. So it's a scope that's really hard to comprehend. But you can see the transition, for better or worse. We're on our way down. I think. I don't like to.
Yeah.
I don't like to admit it, but yeah, like as an American, like we are on our way down, and in the world of technology, maybe that's sped up a little bit, and maybe Apple is not going to. Maybe they'll keep going. Maybe they will be great, but maybe something else is going to happen. And it's weird that we attach ourselves to these brands and like identify ourselves with them. But maybe something else is going to.
Yeah, it's highly possible. It's definitely highly possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this has been an incredible conversation. It's been kind of everywhere.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, it's the best thing ever because we could have had an interview that had nothing in it, and we would have been fishing for answers. But this was really amazingly fleshed out, and we appreciate you coming by.
And now we can play NBA
2K. Okay, so we have a 2K rivalry that I used to play you online all the time.
Yeah, I don't really play. That was like probably the last time I played online. I don't like it, man. I don't like doing it.
Yeah,
I keep to myself in terms of video games.
Yeah. I'm trying to get my player up to a certain level before I go online because I usually do my park, which is really fun.
Okay.
And then
I
like
never
for my
do
cousins,
my park.
we'll do like
you heard about this my park after night at my park at night? There's like a thing where like it's completely dark. Everybody has glowing clothes, and they have like a guest DJ. Snooper's gonna be the guest DJ.
What?
It starts the 26th. I promise you, it sounds nuts.
Well, maybe you can get my player to DJ on my park after dark.
Yeah.
Can we submit that somewhere?
That's insane.
Do they get Juju on the beat though?
Wait, I do have a question. Like, are they going to play like new original music, or are they just going to DJ the songs that are on the game?
I'm not sure if it's just. I think it's going to be new music, man. I think they're going to like set it up so that as you're playing the games, there's going to be new music.
Wow.
That's Snoop. Future's coming.
Wow.
It sounds really weird. They haven't really described.
Are they going to put that on like 2K TV? Because I need more information about this now.
Yeah, it's the 26th, so it's super soon.
Yeah.
We should look that up. But 2K doing some really cool things. I'm playing WWE 2K17. I just put
logos.
I put my logo from my old clothing line in it.
Yeah.
I put the Supreme logo in it.
Fuck the free.
Fuck the free. But yeah, damn. Thank you so much for stopping by, man. It's been incredible.
Yeah. Did you still want to? Did you want to do favorites, or did you just want to?
Yeah, let's do that before we get out of here.
So with our guests, we always do like a round of favorites just to get to know them a little bit better. You talked about it earlier, I guess. Vinyl CDJs or controllers?
I started using a controller a few months ago. I'm sold on it. 100%, 1000% controllers. I'm tired of showing up at gigs with having like one turntable working, licking the cartridges, trying to make this shit work. I'm done. And I think the controller does everything that CDJs do, plus. And I was never a CDJ person, so I kind of skipped over that whole. So I went from turntables to controller, and I don't think CDJs have a place anymore.
Gotcha.
I think they're pointless. If all things were equal, I would prefer to use turntables, but
gotcha.
They're heavy and they're problematic.
Word.
So you have a De La tattoo on your arm.
Yeah, I had it for about a week.
Favorite De La Soul album?
I have a De La Soul's Dead tattoo, but it's not my favorite. It's either gonna be 3 Feet High Rising.
That's my favorite.
Which was my introduction. Obviously, it was everyone's introduction to them. But I also have like a lot of sentimental value to Balloon Mind State and Stakes is High. For different reasons, but Balloon Mind State, I was at basketball camp when that came out. I just played it in my basketball camp dorm room like all that summer. So that was important to me for that reason. But I remember specifically the day that I bought 3 Feet High and Rising. I was at like a Waxy Maxi's record store, and
Maxi singles, I miss those.
And I think I'd only heard, Me, Myself, and I don't know if I'd heard any of the other songs. And I remember saying to the dude at the desk at the register, I was like, I don't know, do you think I'm gonna like this? And he like looked at the CD and he was like, you're gonna like this. I would never forget that moment. So
you mean 2004 is a grind date isn't your favorite day? It's a weird inside joke at a long
I'm not mad at that.
We had a conversation about this earlier. Cool. What other?
Stakes as high as when I got my driver's license, so that's like a whole other phase.
Oh, okay. Cool.
I bought it, I think, like while I was getting a CD player installed in my car that didn't have a CD player.
Oh, wow.
So that was probably the first CD I ever played in my car.
Cool.
So most obscure gig that you've ever had to DJ?
Oh, wow. Most obscure.
Or like favorite place or...
I've had some favorites and I've had some obscure ones as well. As far as favorites, I really being in Indonesia and Bali, that was super fun. That was like a lot of really good energy, and we were on the beach and just felt like could play whatever we wanted to. Another really great one was we played a place called Favela Chic in Paris, and Guy, who's one of the members of Daft Punk, came by to check us out. And, and De La Soul happened to be there as well, like just in the audience.
Wow,
that's
like,
crazy.
Did Guy have the... No. Just regular.
And I took a picture of him and Chad. And
did it melt?
I was going to say, did it burn?
It turned out so badly.
Was it like blurry?
And he was really concerned because he's like, I don't want people to take pictures of me because they'll know who I am. But no one knows who those guys are. Like they get turned down at doors at clubs in Paris because no one knows.
That's insane.
That's insane.
That's really cool though that they've maintained that sense of anonymity.
Yeah. Like, is it possible for you to like just put a Daft Punk helmet on and walk into a place? Like, you're more likely to get in instead of them dressed as themselves?
Just the regular. That's crazy.
I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, De La Soul and Daft Punk are watching me DJ right now. That's
insane.
I mean, I know that they weren't there. They weren't like, oh, Daniel was going to...
All the wheels are staying.
I gotta get with this.
Let me put that down on my calendar. But still, I mean, that was one of those things where it was like, if I don't do anything else, I'm fine.
That's incredible, man.
That's great.
Yeah.
The really funny thing though is that someone was wearing a Aaron Lecrae Be More Gutter Music
in France.
Yes.
What?
That party. I don't know if it was like on purpose, by accident.
What?
That was crazy.
I love a lot of that Milk Crate stuff.
Yeah.
I wore this one of his Be More Gutter shirts. A guy came up on me and was like, "There's no such thing as fucking Be More Gutter, motherfucker." Talking through his teeth, man.
Where was this?
This was like I was like,
was it the Banaroo guy by any chance?
No.
Okay.
I was like, was it Artscape or something? This like real hood dude was like, fuck them up. It was.
I mean, you kind of gotta know some shit to even know that. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I didn't know who he was, but yeah, it was weird. Like, this guy came up. I mean, like, it wasn't like he wasn't gonna beat me up for it, but he was definitely like, "You wearing a fucking black ass shirt for?" And he talked through his teeth, so I figured it was pretty serious.
Was it Charlie Murphy?
It's either Charlie Murphy or a Bathing Ape guy.
The Bathing Ape dude that just punches people for wearing Supreme.
Oh,
that's how he started off.
Fuck Supreme.
He ate a Milk Crate first, and then he moved on to Supreme.
He just came up on it.
Look, I'm gonna say like, and I like Bathing Ape, and I like some stuff that Supreme does, but Bathing Ape maybe isn't that cool to be like
punching people for it.
Yeah.
I don't think any brand is worth punching somebody over. That's insane, man. Did you see the clip of when they tried to like jump him?
No, I don't think I saw that.
That dude is so big that like they failed. It was like 5 people trying to beat one human being up.
Did you see when he ran up on Jonah Hill? Like when he was coming from the gym?
Don't watch it. It's so uncomfortable.
I think I just saw maybe like the first 2 videos.
There's one with Jonah Hill. Where Jonah Hill looks like
he's terrified.
All the fear is in his face, man. He grabs him around his neck. He's like talking to him like, you know, I would have fucked you up if you. It was weird, man. It's very hard to watch.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Best piece of advice you've gotten?
I mean, like that I've been given or that I can give?
Both, either or, it doesn't matter.
I don't know if it's advice that I've been given or that I'm giving, but I think you just got to be patient and work hard, and maybe that's very simple and not very amazing sounding. but you know, like I was saying about the path to success thing, like you can't let someone else's timeline affect your path. And I think that goes to say for, you know, no matter what you're doing, if you're cleaning carpets or if you're making paintings or you're an actor, you know, you got to be patient with yourself and know that, you know, you can make peace with yourself on your own terms. You might not succeed, you may succeed, but if you don't, that's okay too. You know, it's like it's the world has a very narrowly defined view of success, I think, and we also have a lot of arbitrary markers, like for people's age or for people's, I don't know, you're supposed to have A, B, and C by this age, and that doesn't really matter. I mean, yeah, obviously, I would love to have been a millionaire at 23 years old.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, that's not how it goes for everyone, and that's okay. And you know, you got to learn to be comfortable with yourself. You got to be comfortable with your output, and hopefully, at the end of the day, you're not going to be unsatisfied with your legacy. And you know, I might have some weird stories that I'll be able to tell my kids, but at least where I am right now, I probably can't raise kids. So you know what? Like, which would I rather be capable of right now?
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully, at one point, I'll be able to have both.
There you go.
That's cool, man. Well, we appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, thank you guys. It was fun.
Yeah. So where can people get in contact with you?
Daniel Biltmore, that's my name, that's my everything, that's my Twitter, Instagram, Facebook.
Very funny on Twitter.
I'm trying, man.
Twitter.
Daniel Biltmore, Biltmore is the last name, but you can find me on every platform with that.
Cool.
Where'd
that name come from to begin with?
That was a gift from Chad.
Oh.
There's an artist that we're friends with named Kenna, who is another like Virginia Beach dude.
He makes incredible music.
And
it's really, really good music.
And so Kenna told me, you know, if you're gonna be DJing with Chad, let him come up with a DJ name for you. So I submitted. I said, you know what, just, you know, come up with something. And Chad was like, well, you live in Baltimore, which is similar to the word Biltmore, and also it sounds rich. Some people will give you more money.
Oh, wow.
So that's pretty much that. Yeah, that's pretty much.
Wow.
There's no deeper meaning than that.
I was wondering once you changed your name to that, how it came about. I had no idea.
It's been weird because it's not my name, and it doesn't sound like a nickname. It sounds like a real name.
It does. It does.
So I'm still not used to it, even though I've been using it for a few years. But I guess it's achieved its goal.
Wow, that's a gem, man.
Yeah,
it's a gem. So thanks for listening. Right,
Yeah,
this has been a really
amazing.
cool journey.
Yeah. I think everybody will enjoy this, hopefully.
Yeah. Where can they reach us? Where can they reach you?
So I run all the brands, social media, Debonair Material. So on Twitter, it's Deb Material, DEB Material. Instagram is Debonair Material. As far as the podcast, we have a Facebook page, Branded Podcast. Spotify, Branded Podcast for all of our playlists. You can email the podcast if you have any questions. Yes, you want to give us some feedback. Branded at debonairmaterial.com, BRNDD at debonairmaterial.com. I think that's pretty much it. But, make sure you guys subscribe, like, comment, give us some feedback. The feedback that we get really helps us out a lot. It improves what we do. So I truly and sincerely appreciate it. What about you, Ron?
Don't forget to go to giftcards.giftcards.
Gift cards, not gift cards.
Sorry, man, that was like the funniest thing in my life.
Is that from Handsome?
Yeah.
It's from Hannibal Buress's podcast. And a G-Eazy, the G-Eazy reference. I actually really wanted to know what G-Eazy thought about Trump getting elected. Anyway,
he's the new Ja Rule.
G-Eazy probably did like a Trump mixtape for him. Like, he's gonna be like.
G-Eazy's leather jacket game is crazy, man. Ron is nope, that's not what it is. Ron is Unthawed. RONISUNTHAWED. I feel like I struggled on the W. Yeah. Instagram, Twitter, that's where you can find me. I have a show in DC at Ben's Upstairs December 1st I think the show's at 8:00. It's going to be a really good show. So that's it. Thanks for stopping by, listeners, and you have a wonderful day.
We're out.
Peace.
Bye.